Welcome to this week's Wake Up CX. Last week I did a topic on staff waiting, and it was a good look at the numbers behind some of the things we need to consider when building a rota. And it brought to mind one of the tasks that I used to do, which was outside of forecasting and planning and all the rest of it. We would look at the day later in the week. We would plan a day out, how is this day going to go? What sort of sickness can we expect on Friday this week? Where will our other SLAs be? Where can we pull resources from? The contingency plan, where do we get extra support from if we see this peak volumes that we've been seeing across the week and all the rest of it? It's an opportunity to look ahead a couple of days, not too far, and to really plan it out granularly and have a look at how you can react to situations that may occur. Build all your contingency plans, it's great. And when you take the time and the effort to do this, it really does ease the pressure on the day and it can make a huge difference. I've had weeks where we were tracking 25-30% of abandonment rates, and then by just getting really proactive on the Friday, we've managed to hit the SLA and come in at like 5% abandonment rate for the day with the same sort of staffing, just by having all those plans and contingencies in place, understanding what's going to happen and when, or having a rough idea of when things are going to happen, and moving staff around. And it's important that we constantly have that cycle whereby, yes, we're planning 3 months ahead, but we're also looking at the short-term future and building our plans for that. Rather than reacting on the day, we want to be as proactive as possible, because that will reduce our reaction time. Now, when I was doing the topic on staff waiting, one of the things that came to mind for me specifically was average handling time. Now, one of the things that I used to do was I used to have a table that would tell me every call that we'd receive for the hour on each different service, how many calls we answered for the hour, along with our average handling time. And this was fairly standard. Everyone that was in my team would do this and they would track it. And you would see swings and roundabouts across the day, plus 30, minus 30 seconds on the handling time, hour by hour. And yeah, it shook out to be about right across the day. But it didn't help for your staffing, because when you factor in what staffing would I have need based on that handling time, it turns out, I was like 3 call handlers short compared to what I actually needed in reality. Despite, if we were on our average handling time, we would have actually answered all our calls, because these minutes, they all add up. Now, one of the things that we can do for this is start looking at our call types and the call reason codes that we're receiving. And you will actually see patterns across the day depending on your industry. So you're going to get certain types of calls first thing in the morning, then you might get a different type for the next 2 hours, and then around lunchtime you'll start to get a certain type of call again. And it depends on your sector as to what these call types are. I worked in the transport sector a lot, so during times leading up to like college and university start dates, you would start to get more people calling in about discounts and lost passes and all the rest of it. People looking to buy annual tickets that have just moved into the university and they want to be covered for the next school term or what have you. And you would start to see these patterns across the week, the year, but if you get granular, you will see them across the day. And then you look at your average handling time, not overall, but based on those specific call types. And if you do this, you'll be able to start to see where you're going to have an up or under based on the types of calls specifically you're expecting to receive. It will give you a new average handling time projection for the hour. Not across the whole business with all call types, but based on this 1 hour, based on the likely distribution of different call types, what average handling time should you expect? And if you have that information, which granted can take a lot of work if you're doing it manually, but it will give you a quick insight whether you're actually over or under. Because I've had days where it's looked like I had 5 extra bodies to handle the calls, and that's dwindled down to 1 when I factor in this information. And the moment you get a little bit of sickness, the day gets away from you. And the moment you're on a back foot trying to fight a call queue that's built up, you need to pull resources from everywhere really quick to try and handle this and bring things down. And it just creates an environment of chaos. People start getting short with each other, tempers start flaring, people get annoyed. Your call handlers start to get disinterested. They're sick of call after call after call that they're fighting through. They start to use pause options to get a break between calls. They start to stretch out those good calls because they're sick of all the panicked and bad calls. And it throws everything off whack. So put the time and the effort in to use the tools available to actually have a granular look every hour across the day, across the week. You might think this is a real waste of time if you've only got 2 or 3 staff. That's fine, don't bother. But if you have 50 plus call handlers on any given shift, you need to be putting this time and effort in. You need to make that case to your management that this isn't wasted time. This isn't analysis for the sake of analysis. This is going to give you valuable insights to allow you to properly handle and manage the day, the week, the month that's coming up. It will give you the opportunity to do it. And on top of this, you've got a bonus. When you do all this analysis and you look at which call handlers thrive in which environments and which call types, you feed this information back to their team leaders, and it allows them to build training plans that will help them improve on certain calls where they're weak and improve on the calls where they're strong. They can pair people up so people can share knowledge, insights, tips and tricks, and this will all lead to your staff improving over time, which means that you'll start to see less variation across the day and it will start to be more of a smooth glide. And that's what we're aiming to achieve, a more predictable environment and a more predictable day so things can be handled in a calm, clear, professional manner. So let's try and cut out some of the chaos by being proactive with our analysis. So get your spreadsheets out, get all your tools on the go, let's crack on with it. Let's have a look and dive deep into those numbers. How deep do you go with your analysis in the contact center? Let me know. Bonus points if you can tell me how you do it manually without just relying on tech all the time.